All right, we wanted a big-time rivalry game, and we got a butt-kicking, in a way, with NC State versus UNC. Now, put an asterisk next to it. UNC missing Caleb Wilson. He's going to be a lottery pick, missing Henri Veesaar. More than likely going to be a late first-round pick in NBA draft. But, man, this team, the UNC Tar Heels, the number 16 team in the nation, did not show up versus NC State. And NC State, they were the ones who came out firing and ended up getting a big-time win.
The belt is going to be the lasting image from this one. Everybody saw the quote from Caleb Wilson before the season. He was going to bring it to Wake Forest, to Duke, to NC State, everybody in the triangle, everybody in the state, and they certainly got theirs versus Duke a couple weeks ago. But since then, it's been all downhill for UNC, losing Caleb Wilson, Henri Veesaar out in this game. And yeah, it is Jordan Snell with the belt in the postgame, the walk-on Ben Allen Lubin, the former Carolina big man. He was a huge impact in this game. And I think, Chris, for me, as much as a credit I want to give to NC State for their incredible performance, I am equally as puzzled at UNC's lack of response and lack of fight.
Yeah, you would have thought that this being a big-time rivalry game, that UNC would come and say, hey, we want to make sure that we can do it without our big men. We can do it without Caleb. We can do it without Veesaar. We can hold them down so that when they come back, we're just firing on all cylinders. Maybe the next person steps up. You always hear that from coaches. You always hear it from players, next man up mentality. I don't know if we got that as a whole from UNC. Now, I think Zayden High had a good game coming in. He doesn't really play as much, started today because of those injuries. I thought Jaren Stevenson did fine in today's game, but really after that, there wasn't a lot really to be proud of if you're UNC. And you look at all of the turnovers. I want to say it was 7 steals for NC State, total of 12 turnovers for UNC, only 4 turnovers for NC State. And they just scored so much. I want to say I was like 16-4 in points off of turnovers, NC State with that advantage. I mean, that really makes a huge difference in this game. And it really felt like at times that NC State really just gave up. I'm sorry, Carolina, excuse me, gave up and settled for shots and didn't come in to really fight in this game.
Well, if you're an anti-Hubert Davis person, this game did nothing to dissuade that opinion. We'll dig a little deeper into what's wrong with UNC, but let's say what's right about NC State.
Absolutely.
And I think the first thing is how much they needed this game.
For sure.
Think about that embarrassing loss to Louisville where I think they were like 4 of 22 from 3. And so much for the Wolfpack is, do the threes go in and do they defend? They did both in this game. And then it's just the fact that the Miami loss just a couple days ago where they give up an 8-0 run in the final minute to lose a heartbreaker at home. And Will Wade, who promised us the Red Reckoning before the season, in a lot of ways yet to deliver it. Like, yeah, they're safely in the tournament, I think, before this game, but they needed a signature win.
Yeah.
They needed a home win because all their quad one wins had been on the road. Clemson, Wake Forest, and I'm forgetting one other one right now, but they obviously pick up the huge quad one win here at home, and all that stuff doesn't matter when you beat your rival. It could really wash away a lot.
Well, there's still work to do for them. They have to end the season off the right way to make sure that they are in the tournament. 18-8 before tonight's game. Now that they're 19-8, it helps. I mean, they were only 1-4 versus ranked teams. That one coming on the road at Clemson that you mentioned.
SMU, by the way, was the other one.
SMU is the other one, quad one win, but they weren't ranked. As far as like ranked wins, they needed this for the tournament resume. You beat this North Carolina team, yes, without Wilson and Veesaar, but you beat a North Carolina team who beat Duke, Kansas, and Kentucky this year. That has to look good when the tournament committee is kind of looking at all of that. Now NC State has to take all of this. They have to make sure that they finish the season strong enough so that they can make it to the tournament and have a great seed. But also what can help them out is right now, they're at that 5 spot, I want to say, for the ACC tournament. If you win that Miami game, you're in that 4 spot. So you're playing on Thursday. You have that double bye. And so maybe there's some work that they can do over the last few games of the season. Maybe Miami slips a little bit. NC State still has that within earshot as they're still tearing things down here. They have that within earshot where they could possibly move up to that double bye, and that could do wonders for them, especially for their tournament hopes.
And look, I've said all season long that I didn't necessarily think NC State was a Final Four caliber team. but thought they were the type of team that profiled as one that could get hot in the tournament and go on a run and ultimately get there. Obviously, we saw Kevin Keats' team do it a couple of years ago. We saw Hubert Davis's team do it a couple of years ago. This team reminds me a little bit of those, but I think their ceiling in a lot of ways is higher. Like, you see it tonight, like when Darion Williams gets injured early, when Trey Holloman gets injured early, and they respond with Matt Abel, I think, who had a career high tonight, was 3 for 3 from deep in the first half, continued his hot shooting in the second. I mean, we've seen Paul McNeil and what he could do. He hit several threes in this game. And then when your stars play like stars, that's when you get the 24-point margin where Kadir Copeland just completely controls. I love the way the word they use for porching, the way he kind of backs down as a point guard. And Darion Williams does the same thing. Both those guys were spectacular.
Absolutely. I would say this. The only thing that I'm worried about for NC State moving forward, of course, we talked about the shooting, so something else other than that is the rebounding. They still lost the rebounding fight tonight.
It's hard to believe.
40-38 in this game. Not by much, but if Wilson is there, if Veesaar is there, you have a guy who's 6'10" and a guy who's 7 feet tall. It might be a lot worse, and it might look a little bit different for NC State in the game. So moving forward, that is definitely something that I know Will Wade wants his team to get better on, is making sure that they're crashing the glass, getting those rebounds so they can give themselves a second chance. Now, here's somebody who I feel really good about. You mentioned him earlier, Jordan Snell. How many times is he supposed to get into a Carolina game? None. He's the bench guy.
Dude was amped.
He was able to get in with 2 minutes left in his game. That's how bad of a beating this was. And he's the lovable figure here. Everybody was going crazy when he was just walking to the scorer's table, about to get checked into the game. This place absolutely erupted. And for him to get the opportunity to come into this game so he could have that memory, because he's a senior, he's done after this. He's never had that opportunity before because the games are close or they're blowouts in the other way. And NC State wants to keep their best players on the court. He had the opportunity to get in the game tonight, and that's a wonderful story. This rivalry is something that he's going to remember forever, and he had an opportunity to go out on top in his senior year.
And got a technical.
And he got a tee. He got a tee. It was a full 2 minutes. And he got a lot happening.
And he's got the belt, the Caleb Wilson belt. And so plenty of motivation for Wilson if, and hopefully when, he can come back this season for UNC. We talked about it on WRAL, like Copeland telling him in the handshake line, I don't know.
Lace up next time.
Lace up next time. I mean, I don't know what he's supposed to say. Look, dude, my hand's broken. Right. I don't really have much of an option here. And Caleb Wilson was the one I asked Jaron Stevenson, hey, did anybody speak up in the locker room after the game? And he volunteered that it was Caleb Wilson that did most of the talking. And it wasn't necessarily in a negative fashion. It was like, hey, I believe in you guys. Mm-hmm. And I could see that meant something to Stevenson. They respect this dude. Like, he's one of the best players to ever come through Carolina, even if he is just a freshman. So you know you're going to get the fight from Caleb Wilson, but are you going to get it from the rest of these guys? Right. It is puzzling. It is a trend that supersedes this team. It is a Hubert Davis issue, and I still don't understand it. Because he is energy, effort, and heart in Mr. Carolina. And for whatever reason, his teams do not play to that personality. And this is example number 500 in his 5 years here so far. The ups, the downs, the ups, the downs. They beat Duke. They lay an egg at Miami. They play great against Pitt. And they absolutely no show here against a rival. Hard to understand.
You have to question recruiting. You have to question player evaluation, because if you look at all the players that Carolina was really excited about from the transfer portal, who's really showed up? Jaron Stevenson has played a pretty good role. Henri Veesaar has been absolutely wonderful. I mean, he's done wonders for his own career coming to North Carolina. Outside of that, there's not a lot there that you can really be happy with. Jonathan Powell was supposed to be that hot shooter that could come off of the bench, maybe give you 2 or 3 shots per game. Where was he tonight? Then you talk about Kyan Evans. He was supposed to come in and lead the team, be another hot shooter from 3. Where was he tonight?
Totally.
It was a big-time deal to get Luka Bogovac over here from a professional league overseas. This man was playing with professionals last year. Where's he been at this entire season? So there have been some, lack of a better word, duds. I don't know if it's player evaluation. I don't know if Hubert's not putting guys in their best position to be successful. Maybe the system's not working for those guys. Or maybe Carolina is not able to get their shot at the right guys because they've been taken up by other schools before they can actually get to them. There's something wrong with that situation right there. Because last year you also saw how things didn't quite work out with them with the big men, right? It was the exact opposite. This year they have no problem with big men except when the big men are injured, but the big men are their strength. This year their guards are not up to par. NC State's guards absolutely ate them alive tonight. And you have to think back into the offseason when you're bringing in all these guys from the transfer portal or from overseas. And these guys that you wanted to step up outside of Seth Trimble really have not.
Yeah, Trimble's a guy you have to look for. As much as he was the hero of the UNC Duke game and goes down in history now, I mean, he's your senior leader. 4 points in the game.
Yeah.
I mean, he just didn't have his finish tonight. He got to the rim a few times. You know, it's ironic because UNC is supposed to be the bigger team, but when you take away the two big guys, it's actually NC State that has the positional size. Yeah, you nailed it. Bogovac, 9 points. Dixon, 5. Powell, 9 off the bench. Jaden Young, 5 off the bench. Kyan Evans, 0. And you feel bad for some of these guys like Evans and Bogovac come in with the hype, right, as the more high-profile transfers, you know, after Veesaar, obviously. And they just haven't found their stroke.
Yeah.
They're forcing it. I know they're
15% from three. 15% from three tonight.
You're not going to win like that. And I mean, just from talking to some sources, like, there's no, like, Bill Belichick level issues behind the scenes here. But there is, like, from what I've heard, like, some lack of just, like, communication with the players about their role, about why things are happening. Some lack of, like, development where players are asked to do a lot on their own time, but aren't necessarily maybe getting it or everything that they want from the coaching staff. And so it's little things, right? And it's like, again, that's what makes the Hubert Davis case so hard.
Yeah.
Because he is this Carolina guy. He is, you know, bleeds blue, almost literally.
Yeah.
And, you know, he wins big games. He beats Duke. He makes the Final Four. But then there's just these other parts that, like, the more, it's like a, you know, the Venn diagram or the, you know, the positives on one side, the negatives on the other, like they're starting to stack and they're kind of teeter-tottering. And a night like this, you know, you beat Duke, that goes a long way. You lose to NC State, that upsets the fan base just as much.
Well, Carolina lost 2 of their last 3. Of course, that game versus Miami, end up bouncing back versus Pitt. They needed to. Pitt is not a very good team. Of course, the bottom of the ACC. And then you lose a game like this, yes, without 2 of your better players, but if you lost this game by 5 points, that's a lot better than losing this game by 24 right here on the road and looking like you just weren't in it at all. So there's a lot of soul searching that has to go on right now. And also, down the stretch of the season, you want to make sure that you are doing enough so that you get a great seed in the tournament. Now, their March may come into question because you may have a tough time at the ACC tournament because you may have to go against another big-time team. If Louisville keeps losing, it could be them and Louisville playing in the first game in the ACC tournament. How tough is that for either side? And then, you know, moving forward, whatever happens from that, you don't want to move into the NCAA tournament as maybe a 6 or a 7 seed.
Sure.
That's going to be tough. I mean, we see upsets all the time with those seeds. So they're going to have to do some work moving forward. They're going to have to make a run in the ACC tournament. They want to make sure that they solidify their time in March.
They've got Syracuse next. They got Louisville coming up, Virginia Tech, of course, the big matchup with Clemson and Duke. So no easy schedule here for UNC remaining. Obviously, NC State's got to play Duke as well. So Henri Veesaar, day-to-day, Hubert Davis told us. So just getting him back would be a huge step. So
Sure.
Lot to react to. We're doing this quite literally after the game. You know, it's a lot of emotions going around. So let the perspective soak in. We'll see. Again, like, our takes on Hubert Davis and UNC are not just isolated to this game. It is the totality of it. Ultimately, I think, you know, you can flush it and you move on, but there are some concerning trends. We will continue to discuss here on WRAL and Triangle 2. For Chris Lee, I'm Pat Welter here from another edition in this storied rivalry.